Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to the second episode in the Camp Wicked Wilds Campfire Tale Run, what I have affectionately started calling the biggest dicks in history. Just to go on theme here. But before we get into it, let's talk to our host tonight. As always, we got Jeff. How you doing, Jeff?
Great.
Jeff, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
When you were growing up as a child, was there any one of your toys that you were afraid of that it might try to kill you, or there's something just odd about it?
No, I can't really recall any
None.
toys that I was afraid of. No,
There's like not like you were never given a toy. You're like, oh, why was I given this?
I
Terrifying.
mean, that's happened, but like I got an alarm clock that was used one time from my grandmother, but she was kind of senile. So
Wait, it was a you like
it was like literally. I think it was literally her. Yeah, I think she just wrapped it.
Okay. I
off
thought
of
you
her
meant
night,
like she
'cause
just stole someone's alarm
It wasn't
clock.
even like a digital one. It was like the old square, like ones with a little dial on the back.
Yeah.
I think it was her alarm clock that she just wrapped up off of her nightstand and gave it to me.
I thought for a second you were saying like she was an alarm clock thief and she stole somebody's used alarm clock.
She may have been. I don't know. I mean, I don't know her life. You know.
All right. Well, fair enough.
I wasn't with her 24/7, so I couldn't.
Hey,
I can't speak to that. But
I'm not here to judge. All right. So you were afraid of alarm clock. Okay. Also joining us. Well, that's what we're gonna talk about. Also joining us is Dave. How you doing, Dave?
Doing well. How's it going?
Good. Hey, Dave, can I ask you a question?
We sure can.
Dave, let's just say you have a toy, right? And some weird stuff has happened. So you flick through the phone book and you're like, I don't know who to turn to, so I'm gonna turn to a psychic that I find in the phone book. And that psychic's advice to you is, oh, well, there's a spirit in this toy. You just need to open your heart, give it permission to live in this toy, and nurture it, and it'll all work out. Are you going to follow that advice?
No.
No, you wouldn't even entertain it.
That becomes a guest bathroom decoration.
Oh, the toy or the psychic? Oh, okay.
The toy and the story from the psychic.
Oh, fair enough. Wait, so you're scared of this toy? You're like, well, fuck it, we're gonna put it in the guest bathroom.
Yeah, make it aggressive. Like put it on a shelf at eye level, directly across from the toilet.
Have you ever watched the Gilmore Girls?
I have.
Did you ever see the episode where there's the painting of Wolf Girl, the most absurd painting you ever
Yes.
see? Mary watched that show relentlessly, and like I remember that episode was playing. I thought that was the most hysterical thing in my life. She literally bought us like a copy of that painting, and it hangs in our bathroom. So when you're taking a shit, you like look up, or if you're washing your hands and you like look in the mirror, Wolf Girl's like staring right at the back of your head. Yeah.
I guess Mary got the last laugh on that one then.
I think I'm the only one still laughing about it.
Okay.
And finally, joining us is Jamie. How you doing, Jamie?
Okay.
Jamie, can I ask you a question?
Mm-hmm.
So let's say in our little story here, you have a toy that scared you.
Okay.
You called a psychic. She told you to open up your heart, give it permission to the spirit to live in your toy, and just try to nurture it. And so one day you invite a gentleman caller over to hang out, and he wants to take a nap. And then he comes running in and be like, hey, your toy just beat the shit out of me in my sleep. Are you A, going to assume that's true, or B, thinking like, I need to figure out a way to get this dude out of my house?
There's a lot of things wrong with this scenario involving me in that I don't believe psychics have any ability. I don't believe in ghosts.
Wow.
I don't believe
Shots fired.
in possessed toys. So none of this would happen. If I did not like this toy, I would have been in the fucking trash day one.
Oh,
and my gentleman caller would be fucking fine.
Wow. You just took that apart. It's like, well, you may not be thinking that when I present to you the findings of this evening.
Okay.
Hey, so as you all know, this week for Camp Wicked Wild Week 2, we did Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse, a movie about dead things. So I thought we would talk about one of the biggest dead dick things, which is the real story of Annabelle the doll, which it's a double dick night because it heavily involves the Warrens, who may be considered the biggest dicks in the paranormal world. So double dick night.
Woohoo.
Double dick,
Dicks,
but I
dicks,
still
dicks, dicks, dicks,
It's
dicks,
very-
dicks, dicks.
it's a very loose connection to zombies. Is all I have to say.
Hey,
Dead
what are
things is what he
zombies?
referenced.
What are zombies?
Dead. I got
Dead.
it. Dead, but they're not deep. But
What is Annabelle?
demons could have
Dead
been
girl.
saved for something. Okay.
Well, Well, no,
2 weeks.
the psychic refuted the Warrens. They still claim that this is actually a dead girl. So
Oh,
not a demon.
okay, fine. All right, fair enough.
So what's that? It's the triple D's. Double dead dicks. I really should start my own radio station.
Random triple D.
Yeah, double dead dicks. This is a triple D episode, everybody.
Fieri?
Hey, listen. He takes you to Flavor Town.
You're
So are
taking
you
us
saying this
to-
episode is in
Not
3D?
dead dick town. Oh wow. It is in 3D.
What do you say? Oh, in 3D.
Yeah, it's in 3D. This is my version of Diners, Drives, and Dives, but only it's dead dicks.
That tracks.
Demons?
It is on brand. I'll
It
put
is.
that.
It is.
No, it was dead dicks. Wait, it was
Double
Double.
dead dicks.
God,
Yeah.
you can't
You
even
know,
remember your
I
triple
can't.
D
But
already.
you know what the other way it'd be different is instead of me going to restaurants, if this was in a Golden Corral, I'd be like the antithesis, the guy, however you say his last name,
Fieri.
Ferrari. Yeah, whatever.
Fieri.
It don't matter. So hey,
He goes to some cool restaurants. I've been to a few of them. They're fun.
I've been to a couple.
Who,
Yeah,
Eli?
like no,
Yeah, I
Guy
do.
Fieri.
Oh.
No, Eli goes to Golden Corral. We know like where Eli goes.
Which is a cool restaurant. They have a chocolate fountain.
I know that Eli likes
Oh.
to dump on random celebrities, but isn't
I
Guy
do.
also a pretty nice guy? Like
Mhm.
as a human being, he's a pretty
Listen,
I
good.
think he is. I think he's supposed to be
So,
a
listen,
really nice
look,
guy.
I'm
Eli's
gonna-
0 for 3 for
Listen,
actually trashing on people that
I'm going to teach you a valuable life lesson. Everybody's a douche, Dave.
okay.
Not
Everybody.
as big as the two we're talking about tonight, though. So
That is true. That's true. So hey,
Roll
let's get into the story of Annabelle. Now, Jeff, before I go into my story, I know the other two are familiar with Annabelle. They've seen the Annabelle movies.
Mhm.
I doubt you've seen the Annabelle movies, but are you familiar with the Annabelle doll?
The only thing I know is a doll or something. That's basically it.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
pretty good starting point.
Didn't it rode that little tricycle around, right?
No, that's Saw.
That is Saw.
Oh, that's not the same thing.
Nope.
I like where your
Okay.
head's at, though. Joe.
Well, I mean, she may have read. She was little, right? So maybe she did have a tricycle. You just don't know.
Obviously, she you know what? She could have had tricycle.
Was she in the same class as that other?
No, his
Nope.
name's
What's that?
Billy, right?
Billy?
Yeah, that's
right?
Billy.
Eli? Yeah, that's Billy.
Yeah, Billy. There's actually a funny video where there's a guy who made a remote control one, and he like carries around the city with him. And when like news stations, like his local news is like in the city outside doing a shot, he like sets it down and drives it behind the reporter. Yeah, I looked this up on TikTok. It's pretty funny. But anyways, Annabelle the doll. Annabelle the doll is a famous probably the most famous haunted doll story in the U.S. It is loosely credited for being the basis of a famous haunted doll film, or famous haunted doll or devil demon doll, whatever. Chucky. They say loosely Chucky is based off it. That currently sits in the now closed occult museum, which there's actually an interesting thing in the news lately. We'll talk about the end in terms of this. But it currently sits locked up in the occult museum that was owned by the Warrens. That after Lorraine died, a few years, it stayed open. They just finally closed. Where all their, which seems kind of weird because this is a museum they have full of haunted, demonic possessed items that like they die. They're like, well, just fuck it, lock the doors, and sure nothing bad will happen. And that's where that doll sits. I do not know if I'd want that job. Be like, hey, watch over my dead possessed shit after I die.
Is that a job though, or is it just closed and it's just like a storage unit?
Well, no, they have somebody like looks after it because like they put in their will like this shit can't
Someone
get
has
out in
to
the
check it?
world.
I think
Yeah.
I saw that on Storage Wars. They opened one of those.
Oh, it's
Open
like the Warrens.
They're
They
like,
opened
yeah,
the
they're-
Warrens and just shit came
They're
out.
like, oh, look, here's a doll and here's some underwear and whatever.
Wait, why was there underwear with the doll?
Haunted underwear.
Haunted underwear. What are you talking about?
I've never.
I mean, they kept anything
never,
haunted. No.
You've never
Just
heard
took
of
a
haunted
turn.
underwear?
what would haunted underwear even do to you?
what does
Well,
a doll fucking do to you? It
Well,
doesn't
I'll
matter.
tell you what a doll do to you. At least
Yeah,
dolls got arms and legs. Underwear don't got either.
Have you
I
ever
guess-
had
Underwear.
a blowout? You know what I mean?
A blowout?
Yeah, underwear
you're
will
like- you're-
definitely do to
you're
you.
Doing
Huh.
some sports or something like that, and you stretch the wrong way, and you boom, you have a blowout.
I mean, but I don't think you're wearing pants.
Everybody
Hopefully
on here
that's
except Jamie has.
Well,
Hopefully
right,
you're
I mean,
wearing
that's-
pants.
That's
No-
the influence of the
Oh,
haunted
I see.
underwear.
It makes you have diarrhea and poop yourself.
Possible. I mean,
Okay, fair enough.
I don't want
Fair
to
enough.
speak in definitives because that's
Fair
You're
enough.
not
That's not
speaking
what we're
from
here to do.
experience. It's
right.
just a
Yeah, I
concept.
don't know. It's just-
Fair enough.
this is high level stuff here.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. Okay, cool. Well, hey, I learn something new every day. So
what the fuck am I doing with my life?
Oh, you just wait.
Ending it with us.
We are not even to the good bits yet. I'm going to divide this tale up into 2 parts. We're going to talk about the dick Annabelle and her dickish story. Then we're going to talk about the dick the Warrens, because there's just so much dickery in both stories that I don't want to mix the.
I think it's Tom Cockery.
Oh, Tom Cockery is that the?
Yeah,
that's
the official
Tom Cockery
the official term.
There's a lot of Tom Cockery in these stories.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start with Annabelle. In 1971, there was this young nursing student who was going through nursing school, and her mother, which nursing school, you're assuming she's probably in her 20s, her mother for her birthday got her a Raggedy Ann doll.
In her 20s?
She was a nursing student in nursing school.
I mean, whatever. I got a collection of Eeyore stuffed animals. I'm not going to judge.
You sounded
But
a
I'm
little
judging a
judgmental.
little
Yeah,
bit.
you were
I
about
am.
to.
Yeah, you
close.
sounded a little judgmental there.
Sorry, I am judging, even with my Eeyore, my plethora of Eeyores.
So she got this gift of a Raggedy Ann doll, and brought it back to her apartment with her roommate. So after a few days, her roommate and her started noticing some weird things with the doll. At first, they would every morning she'd make her bed, set the doll in her bed, and then she'd come home and she would see the doll in different positions. Sometimes its legs would be crossed, sometimes its arms would be crossed, sometimes it'd be laying on its back, sometimes it'd be laying on its face. And it kind of freaked her out a little bit. So she's like, well, I don't want to keep the doll in my room. So then she started putting the doll in other places in the apartment, which if I was a roommate, I'd be like, what the fuck are you doing? I don't want people to think I'm a kid, but whatever. But then her roommate started seeing this shit where this doll's in all these weird positions. It's like they thought that was weird. And then after a few weeks, not only was the doll changing positions, they would find the doll in completely different rooms. They would put it in the bedroom. They'd both go to school. They'd come back. It'd be in the living room. They would be home and they would have it sitting in the living room. They would be cooking in the kitchen. They turn, it'd be gone. Oh, it's in the bathroom. And the doll was kind of moving frequently. Then it escalated again, which this part they cannot explain. They started finding scraps of paper, which they claimed almost looked like parchment paper, like old school yellow parchment paper, that would have notes written on it. So, sometimes it would say "help me," sometimes it would say "help us." Sometimes they'd be real cryptic symbols or almost what looked like riddles, but they couldn't make out exactly what it's saying. One was a very threatening letter about getting the girl who owned the doll. Her roommate was in a courtship with a young man, and that doll apparently did not like him because it left him basically get out note to him, which he thought it was the girl who owned the doll just didn't like him and was upset about it. It kind of caused a strife between them, but it started so start doing that, and then finally what really caused them was concern was this little Raggedy Ann doll started leaking blood.
Sorry.
Did you laugh at that?
No, I did. It's
ridiculous. Leaking blood.
It's so fucking stupid. Okay, continue.
So the girl, she was she didn't know what to do. She didn't want to throw the doll away because it was a gift from her mother. So she started looking through the phone book to see
if you give me a gift and it starts oozing blood.
Yeah.
We may be good friends. It's going in the trash.
Going in the trash.
It's
also a Raggedy Ann doll, which this is when they came out or something. It's not like they're hard.
When was that?
Not
was this the 50s?
This is 1971.
70, yeah.
Oh, they should know better by then.
Yeah, you'd think so. And what's also weird too, if you read interviews by this girl, or the woman who this happened to when she was younger.
Is she still alive?
I don't think so. I actually think she died not too long ago. I think she died during around this time, the second Annabelle movie. I think that was they kind of made it part of the marketing, which was shitty.
Built her as part of the marketing. That makes good sense.
Yeah, well, probably.
I mean, that's committing. I appreciate that.
But when you read interviews, the thought of throwing the doll away never crossed her mind. She's like, it was a gift from my mom. You don't throw away gifts from your mom.
At
But
that
like,
point, whatever
this
happens
is-
to her, she deserves.
and it's how you know it's bullshit story number one, because my mom gave it to me. I'm sorry. No.
what if she's really close to her mom? She don't want her mom's feelings.
I'm very close with my mom, but she gives me a fucking bleeding doll. It's going in the trash. I'm
All right.
sorry.
Fair enough. But so she was looking through the phone book trying to find a solution. You know, it was the 70s, there wasn't smartphones, you know. And she just happened to come on a page for a local psychic. And she thought, well, this is kind of weird. Maybe the psychic could help me.
Sure.
So her and her roommate take the doll to the psychic, who, upon having a seance and doing her stuff, she goes, "Oh, your doll is possessed by the spirit of a 7-year-old girl named Alice Higgins, who died tragically and unexpectedly in your apartment a long time ago." And they're like, "Oh, well, how she died?" She's like, "She's not really telling me, but she's dead and she's in your doll." And they're like, "Okay, what do we do?" She's like, "Oh, well, she's telling me she feels real comfortable staying with you two. She would like you to give her permission to stay in the doll. And then I'm thinking if you're nice to her and kind of incorporate your lives, it'll help her like move on, be accepted." And without question a beat, those girls were like, "Okay."
Okie dokie.
And they gave the spirit permission to live in the doll, and they took it home. I feel like if anybody, I am me, but I feel like if anybody's like, yeah, just allow that spirit to live in someone, I'd be like, nah, that's all right. Nah, bro.
Oh, the like ghosts need permission now to do stuff?
gonna
Is
say,
that
Apparently, she didn't need permission this whole time she'd been in it, but
Yeah,
right?
she
Like
needs
right.
permission
it's
now.
been there the whole time. Like,
Yeah.
what Miss Cleo's gonna tell them that, hey,
Well,
you
no.
just hold on to this thing.
Hey, listen, man, I don't know, but they said once again, if you look at interviews, the roommate was like, I thought it was weird, but she was a professional.
No, professional.
Yeah, she was a professional.
Yeah. I
Did she
use
use,
that
did she
term
like
very
put it in
loosely.
quotes? Like, is she like a professional?
It didn't have the quotes.
This legend and these people are coming into clear focus.
Mhm.
Now, by this point, in the apartment building and like around the neighborhood,
So wait, was this girl one of the Waltons or whatever we're talking about?
No, we didn't get there yet. We didn't get to
might as well be. So it started getting around the apartment building about the story of this doll, in like the neighborhood that they went saw a psych, whatever. Well, after they got back, they gave her permission, and then they were like talking to it and like giving incorporating it in their
third
lives.
roommate. Okay.
Shockingly, things did not get better. Things did not calm down. Things got dramatically worse and quickly. The doll started moving more, leaving more threatening notes, bleeding more. The girls would have nightmares and they'd wake up and the doll would be like on their bed with them. They claimed stuff was moving around their apartment, things like that. And then the worst incident to occur was if you all remember, the roommate's gentleman caller. He came over one day to hang out and needed to take a nap. And while he was sleeping, he was having a dream that he was being choked.
Why was take a nap in quotes? I'm confused.
Because he was like, I went over to hang out and take a nap. Was his
the
quote.
full thing was, you did it. Okay, got
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, you broke those up kind of weird.
Yeah, it was
well,
a weird. The hang out, I get. Hang out in quotes, I get
And
that part.
hang
Yeah,
out
Then
and
you, like,
take
take
a
a
nap.
nap.
Yeah.
You're the
no.
worst.
You know what? I'm trying my best.
Turn this podcast around right now.
Okay. Anyway.
Anyways, so he was taking a nap and he had a dream that he was being strangled by somebody in his sleep. And he woke up in a panic and turned, and the Annabelle the doll was sitting on the edge of the bed with him. And he was like staring at it uncomfortable because he's like, oh, the girls played a trick on me. But then he looked down and he had like deep scratches in his stomach and chest. And he was like, oh, the doll did this. And he left, ran out of the apartment.
That couldn't have been towards the napping time of his.
Nope, because he was napping.
Did he
Wink.
use the bathroom while he was there?
I was I mean, I don't know. I assume so. So you go rent out the apartment. Explain to them. You call the girls later, told them what happened. The girls at this point started hearing voices, and it was kind of becoming like a big deal in the area. Well, then comes into the story
Oh,
the Warrens,
here we go.
who had a knack for during this time frame, these kind of like growing famous paranormal activities, we will say, that would occur. They had a way of just kind of like showing up and taking over, which we'll get more into when we talk about the Warrens.
Well, because is this before or after Amity?
This would be after Amity.
After Amity.
This was the spiritualist renaissance that was happening.
I thought
Yeah.
this girl was like related to them. I thought this was their daughter.
No, they were these two. There was a married couple who one was a self-proclaimed demonologist and actually kind of like created like the field for it as a non priest, like being a non-religious figure and doing this. Like
I'm pretty sure the devil created demonology. He said,
"No, all right, fair enough." And his wife, who stated she was psychic as well, but not in the terms of like talking spirits. She could see auras and was showed visions.
Could see what?
Auras.
Auras?
Auras.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Auras.
Yeah. Good. Yeah.
Uh,
It's okay. It's okay, Wolf. It's okay.
Woof.
Parents of Warren G, right? That's
Yeah, parents of Warren G. Hardens. So anyways,
was Nate Dogg there?
yeah, he was there too. But so they had heard about this. I believe Lorraine said she also had a vision. They got in their car, headed to these girls. When they got there, by this point, the girls were becoming very panicked. They were afraid to get rid of the doll because, by this point, a bunch of people were reaching out. I believe at this point they talked to their local church and like, you probably can't throw it away now. It's like attached to you. The Warrens show up and like let us investigate it. They were actually well partnered with the Catholic Church at the time. They brought a priest in to try to exorcise a doll in the house, which failed terribly, apparently. So much so that when they were trying to exorcise it, the demon voices yelled at them, so they stopped.
Wow, that's conviction.
Well, they listen. You don't want to do that in a regular house, and like they decided at the point, like, oh, well, that's a demon. This isn't the place to do this, and so they told them, they go, listen, let us take the doll. And we have a place where we store objects like this to protect them from people. We charge people $5 to come in to look at it, but let us take the doll, and then it'll be our problem. And then it's like, okay. According to the Warrens, they barely made it home alive.
Oh my God.
Doll. Their engine cut out multiple times while they were in the road driving. Their brakes were acting faulty. They almost got into multiple head-on collisions. They were losing control of their steering. It got to the point where it was getting so bad that Ed Warren pulled over the side of the road, drenched the doll in holy water, which kind of stifled it, and then they hurried up and rushed back to their home.
Is that code for Pete on it?
Yep.
Well, Pete on with holy water.
Nothing's more scary than a demon that almost gets you all the time. Like,
well, hey, listen. They get back to their house, Connecticut. Their museum was actually in their house, which once again doesn't seem like a great idea. And they're like, we'll put the doll in there till we can figure out what to do with it, and charge people $100 to come look at it.
Did they though, or not till after they were a thing? I'm asking a genuine question. Like back when they were first starting doing all this bullshit and taking people.
When they first started,
did they also charge people to come look at their?
Well, so when they first started, people could come and look at people from the church stuff like that. They didn't charge, and then they did start charging people a couple bucks, but it was all a donation because they never charged. In fairness to them, for reasons we'll get into, they never charged a single person for
Oh, I thought
helping
they
them.
did. I thought that's how they were. Okay, you'll explain.
Nope.
Sorry.
Yeah, we'll
Okay,
explain
okay.
it, but they never charge a single person for helping them.
Okay,
Because if you don't charge
I'm
them,
waiting.
they can't hold you responsible for doing anything.
Well, that, and you didn't charge them to help them, so you really can't complain when they write books and make movies and go on tours. But anyways, so they came back to the house, and as the weeks go on, they started claiming that this doll was showing up in random places in their house and was moving, and they were hearing the voices and was plaguing them and was trying to get their children. So Ed got a box with no lock on it, but put it in this box, shut the door, and had a sign up that was like, "Hey, please don't mess with the doll. It's possessed." And they thought, well, it can't escape. Like, it doesn't have fingers, so it couldn't open this latch.
It's moving around the house.
That's
It's
correct.
Somehow it
throwing
can't
things.
get-
It's writing letters, but it can't open a door with no lock.
Well, that's what they thought.
Okay, they're
Then
smart.
it started doing that again. Somehow it was getting out of this box. They didn't know. And then they had invited, there was a gentleman over who was invited over to look at the Cursed Museum or whatever you want to call it. And they had left the room, and he had opened that case and picked up Annabelle. They came back in like, "Oh no, you can't touch it. That doll's possessed by a demon that we couldn't exorcise. Please don't touch it. Put it back in." The guy said, "Okay," and he left. And then tragically died in a motorcycle accident months later. But they said it was because of the
that
doll.
was coming.
They said because
Man,
of the
that's
doll.
crazy. I can't believe that.
Did
Months later.
Months. It had to build up to it.
did Ed have to re-pee on the doll before he put it back in the
Yeah,
case?
was it?
No, but when they heard that this guy died in the motorcycle accident months later, they assumed that it
It's
has
obviously
to be
related.
Yeah, they start
This.
charging $10 instead to see the doll.
They then went their contacts the Catholic Church, and they're like, we need to have a formal exorcism to get this thing out of this doll. Priest came out. Once again, they could not. It failed. Things got violent. Apparently, there's forces. Things are falling over. So they decided to quit for the night. The priest got back in his car, and his brakes failed on his way home that night, and he crashed his car. Was not hurt at all, but they said it was a near-death experience. And then because of that, they didn't want to risk anybody touching the doll again. So then they installed a glass front and a lock into Annabelle's case so people can't touch it. They then went on to claim that over the years, people would sometimes manage to get into the box and somehow touch the doll. And all of them faced near-death experiences and bad luck after. And then they put up the official
I
sign.
heard a lot of them died about 40 or 50 years later.
Well,
that's what I heard.
you ought to be careful with that.
Yeah. Well,
and then recently, so years go by, Ed passed away first in the early 2000s, or late 90s, early 2000s. Lorraine, I think, was 130 years later. She died because she looked 130 years old. She died around, I believe it was shortly after the first Conjuring movie came out.
I thought it was even after that. I feel like it was more recent.
Was it
I
after
could be
the
wrong.
second one?
I feel like it was like fair. I know at this point Conjuring's a lot older than I think it is, but I feel like she died fairly like.
I thought she died before the second
I'm
one.
probably completely wrong. I just.
Oh, she died in 2019. Yeah.
Oh, see, so yeah,
so
right
she
before
did die
COVID,
after
it
the
was
second
recent.
one. Yeah.
So she was around for half these movies.
So
she's around for Annabelle then.
Well, yeah, she was definitely around Annabelle.
Yeah.
She died. And then her nephew.
What did they put on her cause of death? Was it COVID or doll?
I think she put. I saw it
Before
coming.
COVID.
So she died.
And the curse got out. Oh my gosh!
I was just gonna say, did that doll start COVID?
Well,
obviously.
It was locked in its
Wow.
case. It was locked in its case.
Do you
Lorraine
know that
dies,
for
and
sure?
immediately Lorraine gets the flu.
so she died, and like their uncle or her nephew was taking care of it, and like something happened. People aren't really sure, but then they brought in other people to kind of take care of this haunted museum. There's talks of them turning their house into a museum, and then like with the kids stuff, like people, like that situation, no one really knows. The only thing that was in the news recently was they were kind of doing work and cleaning up the area, and like some guy opened the case and pulled Annabelle out, and then like
He said,
a
"Man, this
week
doll smells like
a,
pee."
a week later, he
And
got
not the
like
good kind of pee either.
Yeah.
and then like a week later, he was like hurt in a work accident,
Oh my god.
but he's fine.
First of all, this sounds
Another
like the
close
nicest
call.
demon. All these people live. So what?
Nicest demon. First off,
They all live.
she's crossing her legs and arms real weird as a Raggedy Ann doll. That makes everybody uncomfortable. Okay.
It's also
Secondly,
a Raggedy Ann doll. It's like the stupidest looking thing. Like no wonder they
she's-
had to change it for the movie.
she's showing up all over your apartment, dripping blood,
Just saying.
writing you shitty notes, right? Growling at you and scratching you in your sleep. And she's causing people to die in accidents months later and cutting brake lines. She's like a mobster.
But they're all living.
Well, I mean, I didn't say she was very good, but she's a dick.
Hey,
All right,
Eli, can I
fine.
have just a quick sidebar with Jeff here? Just a
Yeah.
little
Mhm.
mental exercise here. So let's just imagine for a second, Jeff, that you're a medical student at some
Okay.
random college, and there's some girl on your floor that has like a 3-foot plush Raggedy Ann doll in her room that you find out about, that she won't shut up about it, that her mommy gave it to her. And you have access, maybe because you're in a medical school, to, let's say, blood. And you're bored.
Yeah.
Can't
Yep.
get out on the weekends. There's no possible way you would come up with the contrived story of, because they've got this huge doll in the room, right?
Yeah,
That would never
there's
happen,
no
would it?
way that anybody could just, I don't know, go in when they're not there and move the doll around. It's
Well,
impossible.
okay, let me ask this question. What about
Yeah.
the roommate's gentleman friend
Who is this
woke
guy's
up
roommate?
being scratched all over his
Yeah.
chest?
These are all just tales. Who
Yeah.
said it happened? Maybe it was a
That-
cat.
He did.
Do we know they did not have a cat in the house?
I never say anything that they had or didn't have a cat.
Okay, exactly.
Drugs.
It sounds like this roommate's boyfriend or gentleman caller, whatever the official term you've been using. This whole time. Sounds like he just wanted out of the relationship and he had this really
Yeah, he's like, I gotta go.
The
Your
most
doll
creative-
attacked me.
the most
Oh.
creative-
All right, well,
excuse.
how do you explain the motorcycle accident?
that happened 2 months after he touched the doll.
It takes some time.
Do I need to?
What about the priest's brake lines that night?
Priests aren't known for their auto maintenance. Just saying.
What about showing up all over the Warren's house that they were the only witnesses to?
who stood to profit from people investigating?
No,
Paranormal
well, you know what? If you're gonna open that door,
Yeah,
so
we're gonna get
we'll-
into the
we're-
explanation of how they
we're gonna have our dick off. I think we'll call it.
scammed everybody
We're
without
gonna-
money. I
we're
thought
gonna-
it was a money thing.
Nope, we're gonna have our dick off. To see who the bigger dick is tonight.
Oh, the Warrens, the hands down.
I haven't
Ding,
even
ding,
told you
ding.
what they did yet.
Because I know about that. Because it's the Warrens. I'm
Yeah.
telling you.
Well, let me give you a little background. Ed Warren got into demonology, and what he called parapsychology, because he claimed that he grew up in a demon possessed house.
Mhm.
And he started. He was devout Catholic, so he started studying these things and helping people in the community.
Sure.
Because
Mhm.
at the time, it was hard for the church to go out and deal with it.
Mhm. Somebody had already written the Malus Maleficarum, so he couldn't do
Right.
that.
Little weird part of the story. I think he was 20 when he met his wife, who was 16. Lorraine, who was
I've heard
also
worse.
a
so-
devout a Catholic, but she was born with an ability. She could see auras and visions, but she never wanted to tell people because at the time she said if you told people that stuff, they would put you in the quote unquote loony bin. And she didn't want that to happen to her. But one day when she was at Catholic school, when she was in high school, apparently one of her teachers who was a nun had the gift as well and could see that she had the gift and told her that she could either use the gift or go and try to pray the gift away. She went and tried to pray the gift away, but it didn't work. And so that she knew that God wanted her to have this gift to help people. And was shortly after she met Ed.
If only the knot had found her first.
The knot?
Yeah. From Dr. Sleep. Come on, man. Keep it.
You're saying she got The Shining.
Of course.
Oh, okay. It does sound like it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, her and Ed, after they got married, decided that they could get real jobs.
Nah.
Which they kind of worked, I should say, for the church, but then they decided in their free time that they were going to start investigating these paranormal things. Ed started the New England Paranormal or Parapsychiatry or Parapsychological Society, and people could report things and they would go investigate it. They actually, in their career, went all over the world. They were considered experts, especially after the Amityville incident.
Experts.
They were partnered for years with the Catholic Church, who would constantly send priests with them when they would go out on certain assignments, or they would contact the church after, like if they would go and determine something needed done. The church would help them. They never charged a family for their services, but they did write a shit ton of books, do circuits at universities, was on many talk shows. Later on, signed the rights to films. And as all this was going on, all this thing was like, well, hold on a second. Those are about us. Shouldn't we get a cut? And the words are like, oops, sorry, I can't hear you. I'm having a vision of ghosts. Bye. It would disappear. So that is where the claim came that they took money from people. They never charged anybody because they knew what they could do with it if it was a good story.
Well, did anybody ever pursue any legal action?
I believe they have tried, but
now they
well, I'm saying they tried. Nobody ever won, though, I don't think, because they always changed stuff just enough that the story was about them.
Are we going to, just talk about to use your word, the shenanigans that they just performed when doing these things for families?
Yeah, we're getting there.
Oh, okay.
We're getting there.
I'm sorry.
So, like that, if you look, the biggest cry is like that's basically what they did was they use these people. A lot of these people who needed help would go and say they helped them, but then would turn around, would take these objects from their house that they claimed and had this museum, which they said the money was all to help them, that they donated to the church, but then it helped them with their thing, even though they made tons of money off it. They made tons of money off their books and stuff, and none of these people saw anything. A lot of people they helped were like kind of poor folks or mentally folks who had mental issues or health concerns they were dealing with at the time. So not a great light. And then if you ask if you ask other people in the paranormal field, they say some of the worst sins they did was they had a knack, which is still like Ed had a knack of finding at like when these things were happening early on as they were starting to gain steam, and like throwing his wife in the car and driving at Mach speeds to get there to directly insert themselves in the story. And they say some of their greatest sins is real evidence and things were occurring, and then they would come in and a bunch of weird shenanigans and things would change and get real weird, and it always seemed to involve demons and demons who perform sexual assault, which was like a weird twist to add to every story. And then like once they kind of got involved, no one really took it serious anymore. And then like they're like, we lost a lot of evidence to study that could have happened. So they are hated on all fronts. So I thought we would go through a couple of their more famous cases, and how they fucked it up, and we'll see if they're the dick bags or not. One of their most famous cases was the Amityville horror incident. Everybody's known with this haunted house in Rhode Island, or no, Staten
in
Island.
Long Island.
One of the fucking.
I wanted to buy it.
One of the islands.
Last time it was on sale, I wanted to buy it.
Why would you want to buy a demon house?
Because it's the fucking Amityville house. That's why.
They've made 11 movies and 19 books, and you still want to get it? I know.
Would
you charge people to walk through it?
No, because it's my house. Oh, maybe I could buy it and maybe I could buy it and make it just a museum, just a haunted house thing. If I don't live in it, yes. If I'm living in it, I'm not having people walk through my house. Although you never want to buy a famous house anyway, because then people are just constantly like driving by and looking at it. Like, well, that's especially as horror folks, we're weirdos. It's like we just go look at someone's house. Like the time I went to New Mexico and stood outside Walter White's house, but it's someone's real house. And I just started like yelling into the backyard. And my mom's like, we have to stop. This is someone's house. And I was like, but it's not.
This is a real place.
It's Walter White's house.
One of those people are, yeah. That's like we're going to Salem next week, and they have a notice for like the houses from in Hocus Pocus. They're like,
they do a
people
whole tour,
really live there in there, so please do not try go in their house or their yards and block their driveways and stuff. Yeah. And what do I see every day? Pictures of a bunch of assholes blocking their driveway and like walking all around their house and like looking in the windows and stuff. But anyways, so Amityville was happening. The church got involved first, and there was a lot of weird things happen. There were some police officers involved who saw some weird things they're reporting. The church actually contacted the Warrens, and then when they got involved, Lorraine started seeing visions of all these demons, and like the house was possessed, and then all of a sudden all the people were possessed, even though like they were stressed and like there were some outbursts, but they're like, at this point, you had a stressful situation of these incidents occurring in the house. Your house is now filled with like the church and like the police were investigating. And then you have these two crackpots come in and claim like your house is possessed by a demon and you're possessed by demons. You might be a little stressed out about it. They also brought their nephew in who was kind of being a weirdo. And like, so like they're all in this house and they kind of mucked it all up. And then finally everybody was like, well, this is fake. And then like the book was written and then they tried to claim that they represented them wrong and they weren't enough. So then they wrote another book. It was a whole big thing. Meanwhile, there's a famous picture that the nephew took accidentally. They didn't even notice at first. There's a figure in like the doorway. It looks like a child. And like a lot of people say that's like kind of interesting evidence to point to a paranormal thing. But they took it. They didn't even fucking notice it at first. Someone else pointed out to them. And then they start calling him Pig Boy, which no one even knew where that came from. Like they're like, oh, this is the Pig Boy. And like there's a whole story, and people are like about like this kid with pigs, but they're like, well, no, a year before, they believe a guy killed his family. They're like, well, it's Pig Boy.
Oh,
and they're like,
Pig Boy at it again.
All right. Then shortly after that, they had the Snecador house, which the first movie, A Haunting Connecticut, which there's an actual haunted house called Haunting Connecticut, but then they did a movie called Haunting Connecticut, but they actually used this case for the movie. These folks buy this house that turns out to be a funeral home. And they started claiming all this stuff. There's they started taking pictures on the house, seeing spirits, stuff like that. And that one, as like the story was kind of building, the Warrens show up, and next thing you know, as they're doing their investigation, they discover part of the basement was sealed off, was actually a funeral home. And then all of a sudden they started claiming that, oh, well, the funeral director was a necrophiliac. And was having sex with the, 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 dead bodies, and then their ghosts were upset, and that's why they were terrorizing the family that moved in.
The Warren said this, or actual humans said this?
The Warren said this.
Okay.
This was part of their findings.
Yeah.
They like to use sexual assault as Eli.
Part of their story was also that the ghosts were sexually assaulting the people in the house because that was their form of revenge. And if you ask those people, they go, "What? What? What are you talking about?" And then they wrote many books and talk at circus tours as well.
I think the one thing we can all agree on is that the Warrens probably had a very passionless marriage.
Hey, Lorraine always talked very kindly and lovingly about.
Yeah, that has nothing to do with my point, though.
A couple other. Then there was the Conjuring House, right? With like the witch. They came that. Now that is one of the examples where the family thought very highly of the Warrens and didn't really want to make like there was like this weird kind of stuff. They kind of just want to get rid of the house. So they didn't fight with the Warrens too much, and so much so they were actually when they did the movie, they were Lorraine's guest to go with her to see it at the opening, which is kind of weird considering the movies about them. But whatever. Then The Conjuring 2 was based off the famous Enfield poltergeist in England. There was a lot of evidence of that. There's a lot of people involved. They weren't even invited. They just fucking showed up. And in 3 days, just decimated the whole fucking thing with their nonsense. And that so much so that like the police and like everybody left like, oh, well, this is all just bullshit. The girls went on and claimed that like once they got involved, like a lot of stuff got made up. And it's really sad because there was a real scientist whose daughter died in a car accident who's involved in this story. And he was like, oh, this is proving there's an afterlife. And he was like putting a lot of research in this about his daughter. And then they came in and just fucked it all to hell and then left. And he was left with like, okay, cool. Then there was the famous Smurl haunting, which was about a house that got possessed by a demon who, in their words, a demon who molested, were their words. So I don't know if you're noticing a trend here. And then their last kind of big case was what they called the case of the South End werewolf.
The what?
The South End werewolf.
Okay.
Which was about this. They claimed this guy when he was 9 was assaulted in a certain way by a demon who then possessed him and caused him to become a werewolf on the full moons.
I'm sorry, I'm going to need more detail. How was he assaulted by the werewolf?
In their terms, he was molested by a demon that then possessed him to make him become a werewolf.
Gotcha. Thank you.
And
I didn't think that's how you became a werewolf.
I've never heard of it that way, working that way. And then they said they brought a priest in and exorcised him. And
I feel like there'd be a lot more werewolves if that's how you became a werewolf.
Yeah. So that's what they after kind of those cases, like a lot of their cases weren't well known. And like their actual kind of like stuff kind of died down. Then Ed died. And then in the early 2000s, Lorraine somehow, you know what, I'm just going to make a disclaimer. They're trash people, but goddamn do I love Lorraine Warren. I don't know why. Trash bag person. But I watched every episode of a show that kind of revitalized their like household name, was Paranormal State, which was about the Penn State Ghost Hunting Club. It became a famous TV show. And that guy, about this guy and his team who were students at Penn State going around the houses. Somehow, they'd bring in Lorraine Warren in like every episode, and you would see her by this point because she was 200 years old.
Yeah, and she needs money.
She comes shuffling in to the houses, and she'd always like, I can feel the demon in here. Every episode she was on, it was a demon. Every episode.
That's her lane.
It is.
Yeah.
And then the guy who ran the club, they found out he was like embezzling and stealing money from people.
Oh, so of course he was the raid.
But But after the show got canceled because of his shenanigans, Lorraine's name was everybody loved her again. And then that's when they started making movies off their case files.
See, the problem I have is like The Conjuring, at least the first one, is a good movie. It's like one of the only like ghost kind of demon movies that I actually like. But the Warrens are complete trash.
Yep.
And it like bothers me that they are the focus of that movie besides that family. Because for what I've read, and now this is years ago, but I went on the whole, I think when The Conjuring came out, I went down the whole of the Warrens. And they were just, from everything I could read, just complete con artists. Like they made shit up when they got to these houses. And to me, like, even though I'm someone who doesn't even believe in it, you're giving people false hope beyond anything that you're going to save them from something that they believe, whether it's true or not. They are having this psychotic break or this moment or whatever, and you're coming in with your bullshit and you're feeding them all these lies and you're not solving anything. And then you're making
excuse me, not solving anything. They took that doll out of that house.
Oh yeah, they stole this girl's fucking doll from her mom.
She gave it to them willingly.
Anyway, the Warrens are complete fucking garbage.
So are you saying, Jamie, that in your opinion that the Warrens are bigger dicks than Annabelle the doll?
The fake doll? Yeah, a doll that wasn't really possessed? Of course I am. The
How
Warrens
do you
are
know?
Fucking trash.
She's
the
not
Warrens
really possessed.
Are trash.
Did you hear about that guy?
Putting them in movies.
Did you hear
not
about
them, but you know what I mean.
Did you hear about that guy who a couple months later after he touched the doll, he died a motorcycle accident?
The thing is, like, and then people see the movie and they're like in love with the Warrens because it's fucking whatever her name is.
All I would say is
they're in love with a couple of characters that have nothing to do with
nothing to do with these people, and these people are trash.
The way
I know we've done this with lots of things. It just makes me angry.
All I want to say, if anybody wants to kind of desensitize themselves to what they see in like the Conjuring movies with her psychic abilities and how she acts, just pull up an episode on YouTube of Paranormal State that she was on.
Do the same thing? Does she do it like this?
It is like, so like she walks in the house and like she's got her cane. She literally is built like Yoda. And she wears her skirt.
Right?
No, because that lady could walk normal. Like she shuffled, like Lorraine Warren kept both hands on her cane, but did this like Jimmy shuffle into a house with her dress looking like Yoda. And she always had these weird like curl horns. I don't know what to call them, like on top of her head. And she shuffle in. And she go, "Oh yes, yeah, I feel the demon in here. Oh my, the demon. Okay, bye."
Well,
and she shuffle out.
During Conjuring times, you were able to do dinner with Lorraine, and I briefly considered it, and then realized that besides that she's trash, like I would just laugh at everything because besides that she's Carner, she's gonna sit there and pretend she believes whatever, like, and then I'd have to sit at dinner with her and just like.
Are you saying she cannot really see auras?
Yes, I am saying she can't see auras or R's.
How dare you make fun of the way I speak? All I'm saying, if it's that easy, why don't we do it?
Oh, we got to come up with, because they were, first of all, let's not forget that they started this scam when there was no internet, which is very important to note because you could pull anything out your ass with no internet and no proof.
I think we would pull out our ass. I think I pull stuff out my ass every week. So yeah, I think the internet exists. All I'm saying is we could start a group. The four of us, right? We call ourselves.
I'm out.
Yeah, Jeff and Dave are now.
Yeah, don't love me into this.
Me and Eli, our next business venture.
You guys wouldn't be part of a ghost hunting group with us? I already thought of a name.
What's the name?
The Phantasmal Four, but with an F instead of a PH.
Oh, well, I'm all turned around on the concept now.
Right? Think about our t-shirts, we can make ghost with a no sign on it because that's never been done. And we could go hunt and we could each have personality, right?
Can I be Thing?
Sure. Well, that's you're kind of you're the bronze, right? Like you go in these places and I'm like, "Oh, Dave, help, the demons got me trapped here." You get bust kicked in the door, right? Obviously I'll be the knowledge leadery guy,
the brains of this outfit.
Yeah, obviously. Jeff, what role would you want in this?
Oh Christ! If I have to pick one,
man in the chair back home.
Yeah, how about
you want to do the exorcisms, Jeff?
I'll handle the drone that follows you guys around.
Oh, I was gonna say, but you could be the exorcist.
Oh, I could be like Russell Crowe's exorcist.
Yeah, not wear pants.
Bust in. Yeah.
What's my role?
Well, eight
of them. Yeah.
Every group has to have a Lorraine Warren, so you should be our psychic.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm the
psychic,
psychic.
right?
And but only like I think you should, when you have a vision, fall directly on the ground, start like kicking real hard. A demon!
We'll just follow you around with a
God.
wind machine. So every time you have a vision, we'll just blow your hair around
Like no, it's not even a wind machine, Jeff. You got like one of those old like foldy fans, and like
Yeah,
she
yeah,
like
just-
stand there, and you're just like,
No, I want Jeff to blow glitter out of the
Yeah,
out of the machine.
oh my god.
We'll
Behind
just have
me.
a drone follow you around with like glitter. and a
People
wind
will
machine.
know we're coming because glitter never goes away. Like inside of our
Mhm.
van is gonna be covered in glitter. We're
We'd
all gonna be
ruin
covered in
everybody's
glitter.
house that we go.
How
We'd
else? How
destroy
else are you
'em.
going to track the ghosts?
Yeah,
That's
instead
true,
of doing
right?
the Ed Warren thing of writing books, we would go to a house and record a bunch of TikToks.
Yeah,
in
yeah.
the house.
And do like
With
TikTok
the
dances
demon.
on our way in the house.
Exactly.
Yeah. See, the
That's
Phantasmal
our
Four
process.
strikes again. I'm just saying, Phantasmal Four.
Yep.
So, hey, all I'm saying is, like, if you look at dead stuff, right? Annabelle, biggest dick, haunted doll. The Warrens are just dicks.
They really are.
God damn, did I love Lorraine Warren? I think it was more
You do
just.
share energy. I will admit to that. You have.
What
you
does
have
that mean?
similar
What do you mean
energy.
by that?
With Lorraine?
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
I can see you going into a Golden Corral
Okay.
and them saying they've got issues and you promising them that you can help them with their demon problem if you can write a story and be the centerpiece in some of their advertising for the next
Yeah,
year. I can see
we'll
you doing that.
exclusively do exorcisms in Golden Corral.
Oh, like the first Saturday of every month.
yeah, yeah.
It's the $7.99 dinner special, $7.99 plus
Mhm.
the exorcism by the Phantasmal Four.
Yeah.
The cup they give you will have our faces printed on it, the collector's cup.
Yeah. Thank you for selling my point. Yeah, exactly.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All I'm saying is, like, I what I loved about her though was every episode it was like the shittiest homemade version of Star Wars because like it never failed. That guy that ran the group would go and go, "This feels really bad, everybody. I think we need to bring in help." And then they do like a shitty lightning flash, and then like the door would open, and you just see the, "Oh, I don't feel good in here. I'm feeling a demon." And she's like shuffle in with her like curls. Just saying. I don't know why. It just tickled me every time. Just tickled me to death. But hey, anybody have any final thoughts here to wrap up on the Warrens or that guy, poor guy who all the people Annabelle's killed? I mean, technically one.
I do. I have one big takeaway.
Yeah.
Dear parents around the world, do not give your adult children
Raggedy
dolls
dolls.
to
Yeah.
take to college. You're just putting a target on their back.
She was already in college when
That's
it's
what I'm
even
saying.
worse.
Don't give them gifts of dolls while they're in college.
That's like a weird gift. Like I feel like if like I'm
Yeah.
an adult and they're like, "Oh, I got your Raggedy Ann doll," I'll be like, "All right."
Wait, can we go backwards 1 second? We do need to end this, but why is she called Annabelle?
Because that was the name of the girl.
That's what Mama called it when she gave it to me.
The psychic who originally thought it was the spirit of a little
That was
girl.
the name? I didn't think
That
that was the name
of the
you
little
said.
girl.
It was
Annabelle
Annabelle
Higgins.
Oh,
Yep.
okay. Sorry. I totally.
Yeah.
I don't
And
know.
then the words were like, "No, it's actually a demon."
Yeah.
Who
It's
technically,
Anna Hill.
well, technically, like at first they said it was a demon, and then their theory became was the reason they couldn't exorcise it because the doll wasn't possessed by a demon. A demon in hell was using the doll as a conduit to do stuff.
Yeah, it's all in the beginning of Conjuring.
Yeah.
Like, right? I'm right, right? Like it's the beginning of before they made an Annabelle movie, it's the opening of Conjuring that is the Annabelle story. It is. It's-
Kind of roughly.
Yeah, but it's the
Yeah.
doll. That's how the Conjuring opens, and you like
Yep.
get to know the war. Like, is the Annabelle, the brief Annabelle version of what you just told us? I think
Right.
it's writing notes. I think it's rolling things. It's
Yeah.
moving around, and it's like the opening to the Conjuring.
Right.
I don't even remember the Annabelle movie because I
Well, they in the Annabelle movie,
like it.
uh,
That's
which-
the one that's back in time a little bit, or is that?
yeah, it takes place in the 60s, and according to them, a girl in a demon worshiping cult, when she was murdering people, was holding the doll, and then
Maybe I
the
didn't see
police
the
shot
first
her, and she possessed the doll, but then you find out she actually wasn't the one that possessed the doll. It was the nun.
I might have avoided all Annabelle and Nun movies.
There are three. There's technically 3 Annabelle movies. There's Annabelle 1 and 2, and then there's the Annabelle, The Devil Made Me Do It.
Annabelle Comes Home.
Or whatever it is. And then it's like their culmination, their version of the Avengers, where like every fucking ghost from the Conjuring 2, all of them, like Annabelle's controlling all of them in their house and like fighting them and stuff. It's real dumb.
They beat you to your donkey lady concept.
No, ours would be better.
It would.
Oh, you know what? I don't know that. I don't think I've ever seen any of the Annabelles. I mean, rightfully so. I would not. But I don't. I'm looking at the screenshots. I don't think I've seen.
Can I give you a little spoiler?
Don't. I know.
You're not missing anything.
No, I know I'm not. I have no desire to watch Annabelle.
I have watched all of them. And I will state this: the first one I watched willingly because I enjoyed The Conjuring.
Yeah, I enjoyed The Conjuring.
The second one, I was forced to go to the theaters for a date by someone we all know. Swish, swish. The Annabelle.
Are you napping in this date? Is that what? Why are we doing?
I wish I was napping. And then.
I've seen parts of 2. I have.
And then I was then one Friday night because Annabelle Cometh Home was during like beginning of the pandemic, so it was like directly streaming.
No, it was 2019.
It was
just when Lorraine died.
Well, I don't. There was like I think it was filmed, but then it didn't come out because it was streaming.
Maybe.
And then I like one night they're like, "Oh, we should watch a scary movie night." I'm like, "Okay." And then like I make popcorn and I'm like, "Oh," I sit down and then it was like Annabelle
Comes Home,
molesting ghost, and I was like, "What is this?" And like I was like, "Oh, this is shitty."
You know what? I've seen part of that too, actually. Annabelle Comes Home.
Sorry to hear that. She also in that movie breaks out of her
case.
When
they're on TV, sometimes you know what I mean. But I don't think I've ever seen one. I've seen Conjuring 1 and 2, and I've seen apparently Annabelle 2 and parts of 3, and never
1 is like fine. 2 is like those weird orphans.
Yes, it's like it's a bunch of people in like the
desert, and like the girl like yeets Annabelle down a well.
Yeah, she's in a wheelchair,
which doesn't explain how she gets out of the well in the first one.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway,
this makes for great podcast content.
Yeah, this is great.
You do understand we're still recording, right?
Yeah, I know. We're done.
Listen,
the Annabelle story you told us is the beginning of The Conjuring. That's all I wanted to say.
All I'm saying, Dave, this is also just another way Annabelle's being a big dick. So
she's cursed this episode. Is that what
she has cursed this episode with her big dick energy. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Guess that'll show us.
Yeah. Hey Dave, you want to tell the fine folks about the Wicked Wild?
Sure. You're here. Welcome. Hope you're enjoying yourself. If you want to follow us on social media, you can do that at Wicked Wild We Are on Twitter and at Wicked We Are on Slasher, which is the horror only community now available for whatever mobile device you're using. We are also on Instagram at Wicked Wild Pod, just to throw you a curveball. And then you can learn more about our hosts and see some book reviews and some other fun stuff, as well as a merchandise shop we've put together on our website, thewickedwild.com.
Nice.
Thank you.
What about did you forget the Twitters?
No, that was the first thing I said.
Oh, was it? Okay, cool.
Thanks for listening.
Annabelle is fucking with my ears.
You're doing great.
But yeah, everybody. So we'll catch you next week for another biggest dick in history segment. Next week, it's a doozy.
I'm just gonna say so far my stack is the Blackbeard. He's pretty solid.
Yeah, I think he's up there.
He's winning so far.
Oh, the Warrens are the biggest dicks to me. They're up there. They're
I was gonna say you don't think the Warrens are the biggest.
Oh, they're dicks.
The biggest dicks we've talked about so far.
They're scumbag. They're just.
They're opportunistic sleazebags, but I don't think they ever like murdered hundreds of people for no good reason.
Fair enough.
Blackbeard made his own opportunities.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Well, but I mean, Annabelle did also kill one person.
Listen, let's give up on Annabelle. She's fake and she's not.
All I'm saying, if I watched a movie where she rode the donkey lady, like a horse, like that'd be a good movie. That's all I'm saying. But hey, everybody, we'll catch you next time. And just remember, if you ever think your house is haunted and the oldest people in the world just show up on your door and be like, hey, we heard about this, we can help. Maybe just think about it for a moment. Just a moment.
Just pause.
It won't hurt. Just tell them to give you till morning. Bye.